Welcome inside the CHEK Vancouver studios. It is time for Steel and Vance, and what a glorious day it's been.
Starting to feel like summer's coming.
Right? Yeah, lots of news to get to, but we're going to start with something that's just sort of
Did
interesting
you ever
to
watch
chew on.
The Golden Bachelor?
No, I've just heard about it. I've never watched any bachelors of any kind.
I swore I would never watch it, and then I'll watch it once, and then you get hooked on it.
Oh, yeah?
The Golden Bachelor was great. I don't know if you watched it, but it was people in their 60s, 70s who actually were trying to find love again. I thought, what an awesome thing. And that was the winning couple. Jerry was the bachelor. Teresa was the one he picked as his wife. I think that's Teresa. No, it isn't. But anyway, so he picks Teresa. They get married. Everybody's super excited about it. And then guess what? Wah, wah.
Uh-oh.
They're getting divorced. It's
already
been 3 months and they're getting divorced. And I thought, well, what is that? Anyway, I felt
What is that?
disappointed because I thought it was a nice way to show people who are not 25 or 30 who are finding love and they're valuable and they're good looking and whatever, and then it still goes, you know.
I was kind of skipping along the surface. I mostly watched like the promos for that show, and like when that guy, I can't remember what his name. Jerry, when Jerry was on The View and stuff, because he was talking about how he had lost his wife and that he was looking for love and why and how, and I did get a little bit caught up in sort of just hearing about it, but when I hear that they're divorcing, I'm like, okay, I mean, reality TV, come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Some of them have lasted. The original Bachelorette couple are still married.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So now I'm not so keen to watch the next one. Okay, but
I'm glad you got that off your chest,
Good
Linda.
news, we have a really awesome gift card to
Yes,
give
we
away.
do. Viewing party gift card is $100 for Tap and Barrel, and they've just opened a new location at Brentwood Mall. You'll be able to use your Tap and Barrel gift card anywhere, but maybe go check out the new spot. I mean, delicious. There at Brentwood Mall.
Always is.
We got lots coming up on the show today as well. Oh, yeah, take a picture of you watching us right now and enter the viewing party. That's how you get in.
And tell us where you're watching from. A
Right.
lot of you forget to do that, and we just like to know.
I forget to say that.
Okay, we have a lot coming up on the show,
we do.
and we're going to start talking about the Trump trial.
Guys,
Right?
This is huge. This is the hush money trial, right? Like if you're trying to keep track at home and you're losing track of where this guy is and what's up, this is huge in New York. Reggie Cicchini is going to be here, and we are keeping track of it so quickly that we put a headline in. It's like, nope, that's old. We need a new one. So stay with us.
It's so fascinating to me and terrifying at the same time. We're also going to talk about the playoffs are here. The Canucks have finally got something to celebrate here.
Oh, very excited for this. Your Oilers in there. We're not quite sure who the Oilers are playing
Well,
yet, though,
we
right?
have 4 Canadian teams that are playing in the playoffs, which is super exciting and is the basis of a new poll from the Angus Reid Institute about how Canadians feel about the playoffs and who they think is going to win and who they want to win.
Spoiler alert.
So CHEK, who is the president of the Angus Reid Institute,
People outside of BC don't love the Canucks. Spoiler alert. But Shachi's interesting point is based in how Canada really wants that cutback. It's been a long time.
We've had a drought, and darn it, it's our game.
It is our game.
So
we're also going to talk about the new Olympic kits, both the Canadian and questionable
for
US
Paris
track and field for Paris Olympics. But first, we got to get to headlines. Where to begin?
Well, we had a budget delivered this week, even though most of the details came out in the days and weeks ahead of the budget. But the big thing in the budget a lot of people are jumping onto is the fact that in order to have fairness for younger generations, the Trudeau government needed to claw in some money from wealthier people, and capital gains taxes are going up for people who are making over $250,000 or something. So they say it's only going to impact a certain number of people. Inevitably, people are complaining about it, saying it'll drive away investment. We'll see.
There's only one taxpayer, and there are a lot of very wealthy people who pay less tax than those making next to nothing. So, I mean, it's a good talking point to get upset about it, but I think taxing people with lots, I have lots. You know, I'm happy to, I'm not wealthy, but I'm happy to pay to help those with less. And I think if we all kind of had a little bit of that going on,
well, everybody's feeling like that. I mean, regardless of what your income level is. And so that is why, because there's a big, pressing need for people to want to get into the housing market. So as part of this budget announcement, the Trudeau government said, okay, we're going to change this up. If you're a first-time home buyer and if you buy a brand new home.
how lucky.
right? You can now get a 30-year mortgage. So they're going to allow them. Yeah, and people are saying, well, why a brand new home? There's barely any brand new homes being built. Why not any new home that's existing or not? So anyway,
I would argue that same thing.
Again,
trying to find a brand new home and being a first-time home buyer who can afford a brand new home and then have to live in that studio apartment for the next 30 years. Like, I mean, there are a lot of pieces of this, but apparently the federal government has basically announced that we're going to build one home a minute for the next 7 years or something crazy
good luck
like
with
that. I know. Good luck with this. Did you see this headline about how allegedly the government in Beijing is in on the fentanyl trade? This one made me stop in my tracks. As Sam Cooper from the Bureau, Beijing intentionally funding fentanyl trafficking globally.
You know, I hate to say that it doesn't surprise me because we have a problem with illicit drugs and fentanyl, and we're making it right here in Vancouver as well. It's killing people, 7 people a day. And so what the government has tried to do is with safe supply to keep people alive instead of using the toxic drugs. But we now have more evidence from the Vancouver Police Deputy Chief and also from the head of the RCMP in BC testifying in Ottawa that guess what? Diversion is happening, and that in fact, 50% of the hydromorphone, which is safe supply, is showing up in the seizures when they seize this type of drug.
It is. Decrim is also a piece of this that is getting a lot of attention with the Vancouver Police Department's deputy chief. Fiona Wilson is her name. She was saying that, you know, on top of the fact that the safe supply is making it into these drug busts, but they are also fewer drug busts because decriminalization of these illicit drugs is making it ever more difficult for police officers to enforce laws that seem obvious, but you know,
which is why Pierre Poilievre is taking aim at Justin Trudeau and David Eby.
I'm calling on Justin Trudeau and NDP Premier Eby to end the decriminalization and the tax subsidized drugs and immediately put all our resources into recovery and treatment that will bring our loved ones home drug-free.
I wish you would finish those sentences with, and here's how I plan to do it.
No,
if I had
does.
Never. It really, I find it.
It's easy to criticize when you're in opposition. However, that is why the federal government, the federal minister responsible for addictions, I think, is actually calling a bit of a summit around safe supply. We have people like Rob Shaw from CHEK TV who's saying he thinks that David Eby might pivot on decriminalization and kill that before the election.
I'm with Rob Shaw on that because there are a lot of people who are looking at this going, listen, nobody wants people to die. Nobody wants people to die from tainted drug supply and illicit drugs. However, decriminalization clearly has not led to fewer deaths by the data and by what we're seeing happen in Oregon as well. Like decrim was a pivot as well. There has to be all the pillars in place for this to work, right?
You would think so.
Not two.
Can we also talk about the protests, the pro-Palestinian protests in particular have been fierce globally, but here at home as well. And so they were holding up traffic to Delta Port earlier this week.
That's right.
That was causing some major problems. And in fact, I mean, oh my gosh, I saw this thing in Bakersfield, California. Pro-Palestinian protester saying insane things to council, mad at them about they were trying to debate whether they were going to have a ceasefire resolution.
In Bakersfield, California.
Yes, and so this is the protester, a 28-year-old named Riddhi Patel. Listen to what she's saying to council.
You guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors? We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
That was just a little bit of what she said. She said, you're all horrible people, and if Jesus was here, he'd kill you all. And she made insane comments, and then she was charged. And so this is her at court now facing 18 felony charges, and suddenly she doesn't think she's such a big wheel in town anymore.
And then, you know, off that protest to the other one, the one at Coots, Alberta, at the border crossing, the people that shut that down, the 3 guys
during COVID.
Right, during COVID, the 3 men were found guilty of mischief. They could go to jail for up to 10 years.
Idiots is all I have to say. There were guns, there was some, I mean, however you feel about that, this was dangerous and obstructive.
This one's a big one for people who live in rental houses with offshore owners.
A lot of them.
This is a crazy tax. What? Do you know that if you don't have a management company taking care of getting your rent for you and withholding the tax that the federal government expects, you could be on the hook for it.
And it's happened here in Vancouver. There was a tenant who didn't know this, who is now being on the hook for unpaid taxes for 6 years. They have to remit 25% of it. This is a renter.
Yeah.
And apparently that's the way it works. And there's a ton of people who are living in places owned by an offshore landlord.
I can think of 5 friends of mine who are living in homes in the Lower Mainland that are offshore landlords.
Make sure you know what's going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Do the details.
Okay, here's
taxes.
one other thing in regards to the financial pressures we're all feeling.
Yes.
In Richmond, a lot of the restaurants are now going to all-you-can-eat buffets because they think this will draw the customers in. This one place is offering an all-you-can-eat buffet for $40. And
Derek,
I thought,
start the car.
$40 is
We're
too
going. Nina?
much.
Yeah.
If you pay $40, you think, oh my gosh, I got to eat like a ton, 3 plates full. And that's maybe why a lot of people are overweight in North America, because we have all-you-can-eat buffets, right?
Yes. Or you go out for hot pot with Derek and Nina, and then Derek just cleans up for you. Right, Derek? Yes. Okay. Inside thumbs up from the team behind the scenes. Hey, the trial of the century?
Yeah, for the first time in history, a former U.S. president is facing felony charges in a Manhattan courtroom. We're talking to Reggie Cecchini in Washington next.
Oh, grab the popcorn, Linda. Viewing party. That's what I meant. Grab the popcorn for your viewing party. Up for grabs, a $100 gift card at Tap and Barrel. Hello, Annette, Riley, and Oreo.
And the cone of shame,
Yes.
Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
And Barry and Alita in Vernon. Hello.
We have Claire as well. Thank you for sending in the pictures. Tell us where you're watching us from.
Viewing party at CHEKmedia.ca. It's brought to you by the BCRFA.